My name is Connie, and I run the business, the Southsea Social. So I've been running my business for 2 years, so relatively new. I offer full social media management, so that can be from kind of 2 posts a week, or it can be running your entire account. I also offer things such as power hours, so it might be that you want to talk about your Instagram strategy or your Facebook strategy, or you want to create some better content, anything that you feel like you want to improve on. I do things like that. I also have a membership program and all sorts of things. Obviously, I'm based in Southsea, but I do work with businesses in Gosport and in Fareham and in Hampshire. So that's a little bit about me. I wanted to just go through some of our objectives as well. So obviously we've got understand Instagram's role in promoting your business, learn how to create engaging content that attracts your target audience, and some hands-on activity to improve your Instagram profile and strategy. So it's not just going to be death by PowerPoint and me talking at you. It's going to be hands-on, so there's going to be lots of opportunities to practice as well. Just grab this. I've also put on your tables in front of you, so I like to call these golden nuggets. So just thinking about 6 things that when you leave, it doesn't even need to be 6 actually, it could just be 1 or 2. Something that when you leave, you are going to go home and you are going to implement on your Instagram. It could just be a quick change. It might not be anything, because we might have done it all in this session tonight, because there will be an opportunity. So there's that. Also, we will talk about different content and how you can use it and what you would use it for. But here is a sheet so that you can just start making a bit of a list. So when we talk about certain bits of content, you can think, actually, I could do that. So we will talk about things like carousels and when you might use a carousel and what that even is. We'll talk about things such as educational content. So again, that building trust so that people come back to you. What we want to be able to share is actually all of the knowledge and experience that you've got. So we're building up that trust. So we have things like educational posts. So it might be that you look at your kind of content calendar, you look at the main busiest times of the year. I would probably think prom, massive busy time of the year for you, and you're leading up to that. So we're sharing that educational content. So, you know, what can you buy? What you might pair things with. I don't know if you do a service like hiring or anything like that. No, so the kind of outfits that you sell, what you can get, all of that stuff. So you're educating your audience before they make that decision to buy. And again, it's building that trust. A bit like if you're making any jewellery, actually you want to tell the people you do know what you're doing. You're an expert in this field. Yeah, you are, definitely. And that educational content will do that. So that's kind of those how-tos. Photography business, I can take a photo on an iPhone. If you give me a camera, I'm probably not going to be that great at it. So it's sharing some of those educational tips. Should I take a photo with the light in the background? I'm thinking probably not, but I actually don't know. Those types of things, because actually on social media, it's all about high quality content. So again, it's sharing those educational tips. So why even bother with Instagram? So Instagram currently has over 1 billion active users globally. 70% of users search for brands on Instagram. So when we think about the demographic of people that use Instagram, this group of people are not so much going to Google to search for things. So if, for example, I wanted to buy a new pair of trainers, I probably would search on Instagram. And the likelihood is if we've got your bio, if we've got your keywords correct in your bio, you're going to come up. So all those things can help you get in front of some of your competitors. Increases brand awareness and drives bookings, ability to showcase destinations, experiences and cultural heritage. So if we're thinking about the local area of Gosport, actually it's a really good opportunity to showcase what is going on in Gosport and other things you can do while you're here. I think for brands that are selling products, it's amazing because you really have, and actually for anything, you've really got that opportunity to show off. And sometimes that can feel really out of our comfort zone. But when we're behind a screen, it's a tiny bit easier. So it's making sure that we're getting that across. So it's not just thinking about our standard posts. It's not just thinking about, actually, I'm going to post just necklaces. Do you make necklaces? Jewellery in general? Yeah, so I'm not just going to always post necklaces. It's thinking about our strategy, so having that plan that we can put together. And sometimes that feels a little bit daunting when people talk about strategy. You might have heard it on things like YouTube and all things like that, but actually a strategy for yourself is quite easy to create because it's about what you want to do. Because if I come in and say to you, right, Amy, I want you to post 10 times a week, that's probably not going to be feasible. And
some weeks when I'm on it.
Exactly, yes. Some weeks. And Instagram loves consistency. Instagram wants to know, when are you showing up? Because that's how the algorithm works. So that's how, for example, if I'm flicking through my Instagram feed, so if I'm looking at all the people that I follow, the people that come up at the top are the people I engage with the most. So if you post 10 times last week, and I'm liking it all, and I'm like, whoa, lovely dress, blah, blah, blah. The next 2 weeks, you don't show up. In 2 weeks' time, you start posting again, you're not going to be at the top of my feed, so I'm probably not going to see anything that you post. So it's about that consistency. And as well, remembering that Instagram will only show your content to 10% of your followers. So there's a very high chance that a lot of your followers are not seeing what you post. Which is really, really frustrating because sometimes those posts are taking a really long time to create and only 10% are seeing them. And something I always massively recommend is do not be afraid to recycle that content. So if that content works for you, post it again in a different way. If naked people with watering cans in the garden is working for you, you can still post that again.
Yeah, you can do it next year.
Absolutely, or you could do it next week. If these, it's having those things like, there's a hashtag, it's called Throwback Thursday. Your Throwback Thursday could be when we were in the garden doing some naked gardening. Again, it's generating more likes, more engagement, and it's putting your content at the forefront. And that's when we think about different trends that are going on. But Throwback Thursday always does very, very well. People like that. So yeah, I would always say recycle your content. In a minute, we're going to talk about how you can find out what content is doing well, because that can be a bit tricky when it all kind of blends into one. The first thing we're going to kind of look at are our bios. So when we think about our bios, what we want to do is we want to optimize our bios. So I like to call it the formula for a killer bio, because your bio is how people are going to find you. So I always recommend your bio should be only 3 lines long. That's it. There is the option to have more. However, notoriously, and I hate to say it, people are lazy. So they're not going to press the see more button to read everything else that you've written in there. So if you would like to write more, that is absolutely fine. However, your key things need to be in the first 3 lines of your bio. So for example, you want to have, I normally kind of have the 3rd line where the bio drives people to the link below. We want it to be snappy. So for example, for a photography business, if you were doing cake smashes, and that's something that's one of your most popular things, book your cake smash here if you do bookings on your website, or look at our new cake smashes here. Something like that that's going to really shout out to that audience. We want a clear profile picture. So that can be, it depends what your brand is. So you might want your logo, or you might want you. It depends. So for example, it depends what your business is. So for photography, I would probably think a logo is absolutely fine.
Yeah, we got them.
Yeah, if for jewellery, possibly a profile picture of you. Because the thing is with photography, I know that there's people behind it, I need to visit them, and they need to take the photograph of me. Whereas jewellery, I can buy it from such a wide range of places that actually I want to know where it comes from, and I want to know who is behind it. So again, it's that buying into you. It's it's completely your choice, and there really is no right or right way, but it's building that trust again, and it's thinking, oh, if I'm selling to my local community, that's that person from X, Y, and Z who I know, who I recognise, and I've built that trust with. It's not a big kind of corporate company, it's an actual real life person. So it's up to you whichever way you want to go with that. So for example, with my business, I have my face on it because social media managers, you can get them online. You can get them everywhere, to be honest. But actually, I think, again, it's building trust, because if you have somebody that manages your social media account, you want to know who they are. You want to know they are a real life person. Making sure your name is clear. Who am I speaking to? So when I message, sometimes accounts will message me about social media, and we're about 5 messages in, and I think, I don't even know who you are. So who am I going to be talking to on this account? So have your name clear on there. Also, in the part on your name, and we're going to look at this in a minute, put a keyword. So you might have Amy, and then you might have your business name here, because your keyword is going to be bridal. So this is where all your searchable words will come up. So you want to put a searchable word in here. So we'll look at that, and that's something we could change tonight, but you don't have to, because I know some people like to really think about it first.
So if you change your name, does that affect people finding you?
No.
The same?
No, so this is your handle up here still, and that will stay the same unless you change that.
The one that's underneath the picture you can change that. And
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, so whatever you put in here is where you're going to find that searchable content. So if you change that to local football team, people searching for football are going to find you. So it needs to be, it really needs to align with your brand. So sometimes people have put things in there as a business because they're funny, but actually they don't link. So as a keyword for it to be searchable, you're not going to come up. And we're going to have time to go through all of these steps as well. We will talk about this a little bit more. So thinking about things like your highlights. So does anyone have highlights on their page? These here that run along here, so your stories.
No.
That's okay, we can create those.
I've got one.
Perfect.
I've got 2, but they just say highlights, but I don't know what that means.
We can show you I can show you what to do with those. So, as we know, when we create our stories on Instagram, they only stay on your page for 24 hours. That's it. If you want them to last longer, you can highlight them, which I will show you how to do in a bit, and create highlights. So when somebody lands onto your Instagram page, the likelihood is they're only going to scroll for a little bit. So we want to grab them and capture them and keep them on our page, or convert them into a follower or possibly a sale. So this is our time to kind of shine and show off. So for example, we want a highlight, which I'm going to tell you about how to do. We want an all about me. Who are you? What do you do? What do you sell? I quite like to put reviews in there. Again, building a bit of trust. Again, I'll show you how to create these.
Can you copy those reviews from Google?
Yep.
Yeah.
However you want.
Yeah.
So when we think about reviews, I don't really like to have long reviews on social media, because I feel like when we're scrolling through social media, we never read them. I'm never going to read someone's reviews if I'm just scrolling. But actually, what I like to do is, from a marketing perspective, I like to create something called thumb-stopping content. So if you have a review and the review is blah, 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 this is the best, this dress made my wedding. I don't know if that's what people would say, something like that. And that's in all these other words. I'm not going to see that part. So all I would do is pull out that one sentence, make that nice and big and bold, and put that as my review. So I might have it with a picture or something, which I'll show you very briefly how to create. So when we post our reviews, just pull out those main bits. And even if your business only has one review, you could probably get 5 or 6 posts, because there's probably really great content in there, but we're posting it all at once. Likelihood is people aren't reading it. So just find those really key points. Again, with a highlight, What other things does your business offer? So for photography, you'd probably have a highlight about us. You might have where to find us. If people haven't read this bit, then you might have a highlight on cake smashes. You might have a highlight on newborn photography and anything else that you offer. So that as a buyer, I can instantly see you have the thing I want. Have a think about how you want your bio to look. It really depends what suits you. It depends if you want to have it. I quite like bios like this because they're really quick and they're very easy to read. But equally, if you can write something very concise, which is 3 lines, that also works. So it really depends how you want your bio to look. There's kind of not any wrong or right way when it comes to that, either bullet points or 3 lines. Think about what do you want in that bio? So making sure that actually we're saying what it is. Why are we sending people to our website? What do we want them to see? So we've got brands that do it well. So I've kind of gone for these ones because actually National Trust, Visit Scotland, they do their social media really, really well. And it's not all bells and it's not anything extravagant. It is what it is. And I really like that because social media as well, it shouldn't be overly time consuming and it shouldn't be something that really stresses you out. So they're 2 really good websites to have a look at because they're not all graphics and they're not all singing and dancing. But what they do have is they have clear bios. So National Trust, again, really short, all kinds of spaces, all sorts of feelings, all at the National Trust. So that's kind of wrapped that up. They've got a link tree in there. So when you click on their link tree, it sends you to, I think it's their most popular places for National Trust. And then again, you'll see over this side, so they haven't got any highlights. I don't know that the National Trust needs highlights because they're pretty well known. And then when we move over to Visit Scotland, you'll see that actually their highlights are very up and coming. So a lot of people change their highlights regularly, or if you want to keep them, that's absolutely fine. But for Visit Scotland, they've got everything that's happening in September. They've got obviously the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, trip planning. So again, that's probably one that stays there. Nice and simple. And they've got 2 hashtags in theirs because they want people to use their hashtags. You can do that if you want to. So for example, one of my clients, he has a hashtag that he likes people to use when they create content for him. So he has a hashtag in his bio. Some of my other clients don't because it's not really necessary. You can see that there's clear highlights on this one. Something that we will really look at as well is engagement with followers. Instagram is about community. It's there for engagement. I know it's really easy to just post. I always call it post and ghosting. I don't think I made that up, but I always like to tell people that I made it up. So posting and ghosting is not going to help you with followers and it's not going to help you make sales. So what I like to recommend is that you spend 10 minutes on the app before you post because you're alerting Instagram that you're there. You're letting that algorithm pick you up. So 10 minutes on the app, that might be scrolling through the followers that you've got, liking some of their posts, leaving some authentic comments. So not just leaving an emoji, write something on that comment. Because again, that is another way of engaging with other accounts, but it's another way of people seeing your business. Because if, for example, I decide to then comment on there and I see the photography company have commented on there and I think, oh, I'm just going to have a quick look at their page. Oh yeah, that's a bit of me. I'm looking for a cake smash, blah, 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 blah. Done. Another business for your page to follow. So engage, reply to any stories, anything you want to do. You might want to go into your messages, reply to some of your messages, 10 minutes. Then post and then spend another 10 minutes on the app. So it's 10 and 10. So again, you're staying on the app. Instagram loves that. And you're re-engaging with accounts. Again, they've got their engagement with followers. And if you look at their following, who they're following, they're not following many people. So have a look at who you're following. Do you need to follow them? Get rid of anyone that's like a celebrity, because it's a business account. So you don't need to be following Kim Kardashian on your business account. You can get rid of Kim. She probably isn't going to follow you back. So you can get rid of those kind of big celebs. It sounds awful. If you want to keep family on there, you can. I've got rid of my family on there because I don't need to follow them. I don't need to follow my family on my Instagram account. They can follow me, but I don't need to follow them. Because what we want to do is we always want to make sure we have more followers than the people we are following. So I'm not sure if you heard, on Instagram there's a lot of bot accounts. So they're run by all sorts of companies and they get flagged to Instagram and they're taken down quite quickly. So if there is an account that is following a lot of people and they haven't got many followers, your account can get banned because it can look like a bot account, even though it isn't. So it's just another way to keep your account nice and healthy. Another great thing about these pages as well is they have a mixture of content. So they have reels, so you've got your videos, and they've got posts. And also, they have engaging content. They have funny content. So National Trust, no offence, could probably be quite boring. They could post really dull, boring stuff. And I love a bit of history and getting outside and all that rubbish, but they could post boring stuff. But even if you look at this screenshot, cute dogs. A lot of people love dogs. You might not like dogs yourself. I love a dog. Cute cow. Lovely, engaging. That's what people want to see. Also, when you look, they have got their National Trust and they have got their lovely houses and the history and all of that stuff that goes alongside it, but they've also got engaging content. And that is something you need to find. What engages your audience? It might be you, which people find really strange. On my Instagram, it's my dog. He always wins on the likes. And it's me. And yeah, it feels weird saying that, but it's true because actually people are following because of you. So think about those things that you post and what you want to share. Also think about some of the people that you do follow, just going back to that, and making sure that they align to your brand. So if you're somebody that has certain views on things that actually you don't really want people to know about, you probably don't want to be following that account on your business account. Whatever that may be. It's up to you, whatever you're sharing, if it's coming to something like political, you might want to not have those open discussions with people, or you might want to, you might be actually quite interested in having those discussions, but you might not want to be following them on your business account. And think about things like if you are following celebrities, they're always liable, aren't they, for something coming up about them that's a bit of a red flag. So, for instance, when everybody loved Russell Brand, everyone was following Russell Brand and they were using the Russell Brand dancing GIF. You probably wouldn't use that now because of all the allegations that are linked to him. But some people are not aware of those things. Whereas, if I'm shopping on Instagram and a shop is using him as a GIF, I probably would think, oh, I'm not really too sure about that. And I'd probably leave the page. And it can be quite hard to keep up with all of those things. So sometimes it's just easier not to follow them or not to use those things at all. I follow social media managers in Portsmouth. If somebody is going to go to a different social media manager, that's absolutely fine. They're a better fit. I don't kind of see them in the way of competition because it just means they're a better fit for that business. But it's really good to make those links because, for example, me doing this tonight actually came from another social media manager in Portsmouth. So it's a recommendation. Some of my clients are recommendations from other social media managers because they just don't fit very well with them. So don't be afraid to follow your competitors. It's always nice to see what they're posting as well, I always think. Engagement and community are they should be written, it shouldn't be called Instagram, it should be called something else because that's what they want you to do. They want you to engage and they want you to create community. So Instagram used to be about posting and scrolling for a little bit. People never used to really leave comments or anything like that, but actually they want you to build that community. So you might have 400 followers, but of those 400 followers, they're high quality followers. They like all your account, they like all your stuff, they leave comments, they reply to your stories. They're people that can turn into customers. Great. Yes, it's wonderful to have 1 million followers. Great, I'd love 1 million followers. But actually, how many of those followers are going to buy from me? 10, if I'm lucky. That would be great. For me as a business, that is not the most important thing. Actually, the most important thing is that I have a community. So for me, I have just under 800 followers, I think. But actually, I have so many of those people that I now know that I've got a community with. They'll message me for any kind of query. I've used one of them for, say, like a sports massage because I've got to know him through Instagram and just thought, what a nice guy. I'll book him. I've booked loads. I booked a PT session with somebody because I followed him on Instagram and actually came across so well and so friendly. I already felt like I knew him. I felt comfortable. So again, that's that part of sharing something about yourself so that people feel comfortable. The easiest content as well to get for posting is when someone else has posted it. So having something where you are asking people specifically, I'm not sure how you would do this because I don't know how it would work for you, but can you send me a selfie in that necklace? Or can you tag me in the picture when you go to that event that you've just bought that for? I'd love to see how that looks on you. So you're already marketing yourself. They're going to tag you in that photo and you can use that for your social media content. Or it's the experience that or to recreate the experience, it's about how we do our storytelling. So that is when we make our reels, which we will talk about how to do it, but our reels. So for example, possibly if I was the best social media manager and did this myself and took my own advice, I would create a reel of this event, because I want to actually get that feeling out there about what I'm like as a trainer. I like to be friendly, I like to be engaging, but actually if I'm stood here and I'm like, take a photo, and I'm just like, you would never think that. You would just think, oh great, there's someone training. If I made a reel, so I was saying I got the boat over, first time, didn't want to drive. So I'm filming my boat trip. I'm doing a little bit of content filming here, so it might be, a bit of content about me talking, about me explaining about Instagram, coming over to you, looking at your phone, all of that stuff. I'm getting that feeling out there. The great thing is as well, if you're going to create a reel, you can download it, and you could use that same content and post that over to Facebook, or it might automatically go over.
Could you put words on it?
You can do, but sometimes I think your voiceover you could do a voiceover. Okay. I think that's better. And you can auto turn on the subtitles. So for me, if I'm laying in bed and looking at Instagram and scrolling, I don't have the volume on because my partner might be asleep or whatever it is. So having subtitles on there is a must. But those sorts of videos are how you sell your experience. Because if I'm bringing my precious newborn for a photography session, I want to know that the people there are really calm and loving and are going to move them nicely and all of that lovely stuff you do that actually other people aren't going to see. So yeah, I would 100%. And we always say, one of the things at the moment, the way to grow your Instagram is reels. To make a reel, what you want to do is you want to find at the bottom left and always look for the arrow up, because the arrow up means that it's a trending audio, and that means that your reel is going to be seen more. If you go onto your phones, at the bottom you'll see the reels button, so it's got the little play thing.
Yeah.
A reel will probably come on now. If you go on that, sorry, you turn your volumes down. Can you also see you've got the music button at the bottom? So it's,
how did you go onto that?
So click onto that's your reels button there.
Right.
So click that, and you will either be able to see an arrow up, or you'll be able to see a music note. So you've got a music note.
Oh right, yeah.
What there?
This side.
Okay.
So you've got an arrow up. So if you were to click on your arrow up like you just did, an arrow up means that that is a trending song. Depending on the sound, if it's appropriate, that is the sound that you want to pick. So any music with the arrow up is trending, which means that it's going to be shown to far more people. Once you click onto that button, you can see how many people have used that sound. So I always think you want to be kind of picking a sound that's at about 9,000. You can now add your own video to this audio. So to do that, you just click the bottom left, your bottom left, and all your videos will come up. So you can see you've got your video that should now come on the screen. Perfect. And then you can, if you look at the bottom, you've got a bar along the bottom, so you can make that video shorter. You can crop it by just dragging your thumb left or right, depending if you want to crop it. So keep your audio on, and then you can make sure that your audio fits with your video. And then you click on to next. If you click next, you've then got the option to edit your video. So you might want to add some more videos in there. So if you just want to show one clip, great, or you can add more videos. The more reels you can create, you know, and it's definitely not my favourite thing, but the more reels you can create, the more exposure you're going to get, because you've got things like trending audios. You know, you've sat here now and just scrolled through and looked at reels and spent a bit of time on it, and actually that's what a lot of people do. So you're going to reach more people. To see how well your reel is doing, if you go onto your own profile, so go onto your own page, if you look in the middle here, you can see the little reel sign. If you click that, that will tell you how many views your reels have had. It's always thinking about as well, when you're making a reel, what's trending at the moment? What do people love? So for example, still now, but probably 2 weeks ago, everyone was mad because, going crazy because Taylor Swift was here. Jumping on trends like that. So for example, in a wedding dress shop, I'm sure there is probably a pale purple dress. Taylor Swift has a song called Lavender Haze. There's your link to Taylor Swift straight away. Because anything that's trending, people want to see lots of things about it. So
Oasis, isn't it?
Oasis, yeah. So if you follow the clothing brand, Represent, they're a massive clothing brand. They have just made an Oasis t-shirt. It's just Represent, and then it peels off and it's got the Oasis sign on it. That reel got millions of views just because it's got Oasis on. So those types of things, like in the news, what's trending at the moment is quite a quick, easy link. Having a little look on things like TikTok, looking on your explore page, what's on there at the moment, they're usually your trending things. What's everyone talking about? It is, yeah, Oasis at the moment. So the more reels you can do, the better. You know what? If you do a reel and it gets 50 views, so what? It really doesn't matter. That's still 50 people that have seen it that actually wouldn't have seen it before. If we put 50 people in here, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm actually really impressed with the amount of people that have just seen me, and I've just got my business out there to 50 people. So don't get too focused on the numbers. Only focus on them if you want to recreate that content because it's performed well. I went on a holiday to Chamonix a couple of years ago. I posted just a reel. It was literally just some water, and it got 10,000 views. And I never recreated it again. And now I think, why have I not just posted that again? Because people love that type of content. But that's 10,000 people that have seen my business. So all those things, it's going to add up. We have something called a professional dashboard. So if you have a business account, which you should have, or a professional account, you should see this professional dashboard. So if you go onto your phones and you go onto your home page again, so where your grid is, and then you'll see professional dashboard. If you click that, it will tell you how many accounts you've reached, so how many people have seen your account. It will tell you how many people have actually engaged with your account, so they've gone onto a post or they've liked something. And then it will also tell you how many followers you've got. So if that's been an increase. So what you always want to be able to see, and as a social media manager, when I manage other people's accounts, I always want to see these percentages in green, because it means we're increasing. If we're in red as a social media manager, that is trouble. So you always want to be in green. So I can click on my accounts reached, and I can see exactly on there the percentage of followers I've reached, which for me, I've actually reached 85% of my own followers, which is pretty good. I'm happy with that because that means people are engaging with my content. If you go on engagement, you can check how many people are engaging, and what I love is your top content. So if you go on engagement and then you scroll down, you can see the best content from the last 30 days. So again, that's going back to that whole thing of recreating the content that works. So I would kind of recommend every month, if you can, going through your professional dashboard to see what's working and what's not working, because it's telling you what people like. It's giving you the answers. So moving on to our stories. So as we've said before, your story only lasts for 24 hours unless you're going to move it to your highlights. But your stories, they are about you being authentic. They do not need to be polished and they do not need to be shiny. They need to be something in the moment. So it might be photography. It might be that as you're taking a photo with my phone, I'm just going to take a quick photograph of you and add that to the story with a little bit of context. It might be we're doing a cake smash today, or it might be kind of a few photos of the setup of the cake smash, or whatever that is. My recommendation is share everyday moments. This is the time when people can get to know you because it's authentic and it's not polished. There are people as well that use Instagram. So if I use Instagram personally, I actually never scroll through feeds. I just look at people's stories. So the importance of showing up on your story every single day is probably the most important thing you can maybe take away, is showing up on your story. Stories allow you to capture every day, highlight the special moments, or express yourself with text, music, interactive stickers, filters, and GIFs to bring your stories to life. You can also use some of the great features that Instagram has. Instagram put these features on there because they want you to use them. If you use them, it's like brownie points for Instagram. They're going to show more of your stuff. So when you go on to story, so your stories are up here. So when I click that blue plus, this is what I'm going to put onto my story. Right. So for example, I took a little photograph. I did post it actually, so props to me. So I took a photograph of the setup. So I will click that, and then I can use these features that run across the top. So I might want to add some music, might want to add some text and write, delivering Instagram training to 5,000 people if I want to. Also, what I always recommend is add the location, because people will watch videos from different locations. So on there, you'll see lots of different features to use. So you can add the location. I really love the at part, so you can mention somebody. So I might be out prom shopping and I'm going to take a little photo and then I'm going to @ your Instagram. So I'd click on there, click on the @ and then I would search your Instagram handle. So on here you can do things like click the smiley face. I love using the poll one. So for a bridal shop, I would have 2 different dresses. Which dress do you prefer? The more times people engage with your stories, the more you're going to be seen by the algorithm. So you want to create engagement. And you can also add links in there. So if you want to do a post about one of your latest offers, you can put a link in there to your website or to whatever you want to. You will see once you have posted it, here you have a highlight button. So that's been posted. So I'm going to click on my highlight button. Big fat fun. Click on my highlight button and it will bring up your highlights, and then you can add it to whatever highlight you would like. If you use something like Canva, you can create lovely covers for your highlights. So you don't have to do this. I just think it's really good practice to do it because actually it means that your page looks nice and organised and it looks aesthetically pleasing when people land on it. So for example, you can go onto Canva. No, this is a bit of a sidetrack. You can go onto Canva, you can search for highlights and there's templates that are already made, so you haven't even got to design them yourself. So you can make covers. So once you've got your highlight, you can then go into that highlight and add a cover. So you might want to add your cover. It might be cake smash and that might be it. Or it might just be one block colour. It can be whatever you want it to be. We've got a highlight. So you can see here, This is by Sephora. So they've got their highlight covers so that you can just see exactly what they are. Tropicals, East, so they've just made those probably within something like Canva. We've done professional dashboard. So our key takes, making sure that actually one of our key takes is that we are using a variety of content. So we've got our reels. So on our reels, we want to be creating that video content that really gives people that feel of who we are and what we actually want people to buy. So if you've got a shop or you use a space, actually creating reels in there is a wonderful way to showcase what you offer, because if you go on a website, that's really hard to get that feeling. So even if you're just showing people around your shop, showing people some of those wonderful dresses that you're getting in, so showing up on your reels is incredibly important. Our stories, every single day we should be on our stories showing up. It's only on there for 24 hours, it doesn't need to be polished. Our carousel posts. So our carousel posts are when we want to put a post on, but we want to post more than one static image. So you can now post up to 20 posts on one of your Instagram posts. So I'd never recommend posting 20 because nobody's probably going to look at those, because that's a lot. So if you want to, I'd probably say 4 or 5 is a really great place to start with your carousels. That can be things like if you do a cake smash, there might be different versions of that same cake smash. I probably would imagine there's loads of photos. So you can put them all onto one static post. And then you've got your individual posts. Thinking about the content that you are posting, we always want to see that variety. So although we've got different varieties here, we want to see different content. So something like I always like to promote is that people have that shareable content. So that's your funny content, things that people are going to send to each other. So, you know, I might want to send you a video of naked gardening and be like, hey, look, this looks like you. It's that shareable, funny content. So you might want to make memes, you might want to reshare those things, all those things that are funny. Educational content. Educational content is brilliant because it's really showing people your expertise. So if it comes to jewellery making and actually some of the material that you use, why are you using that? You know, why is a certain thing not going to turn my finger green? If I buy from you, actually, what goes into it? So we're sharing that kind of passion and that knowledge that only we have. So we're giving some of that away for free. With photography, definitely you'd be giving those things away for free, but it shows what experts you are. So it's creating that trust again. Then we've got our personal content. Again, think about your boundaries of what you want to share, but show up, let people see who's behind this page and who's behind this business. So our key takeaways as well. Engaging content is the key to growth. People want to see things that actually they want to stop on and they want to look at. Consistency and engagement will drive success. If you are turning up and you're saying to yourself, right, I will post 3 times a week. That's it. I'm going to stick to those 3 times. That is going to give you that success, because actually you're telling Instagram that you're going to show up. Show up. I want to see your lovely faces on your Instagram page. Optimize your bio. So if you haven't already, think about what you want to put in your bio and change it up. And use Instagram features. They put them there because they want you to use them and they will reward you for using them. So on the stories, use those polls, use the quizzes, anything you can put on there, put it on there. Thank you.